is Sunday afternoon. It's almost 4 o'clock and it's already getting dark. So today we are going to have a candlelit cozy catch-up. I want to catch you up on a few things. I'm going to spend most of this time doing some ink swatching because I got a new ink and I'm really excited to swatch it out. And I thought we could do some comparisons with other red inks in my collection. I also want to catch you up on my Wonder Pens workshop and just talk a little bit about some of the prep work and reflect on my experience facilitating it, because it was my first time doing a workshop outside of work on a topic that I was genuinely passionate about. And I guess I want to reflect on it while it's still kind of fresh in my mind. So I've got my coffee here. I don't have a snack today, but right now my snack of choice has been these shortbread cookies from a local grocery store. They come out at the end of the year, and I was really happy to see them back in stock. The first thing that I want to talk about is how I solved the dilemma of wanting to use my Blackwing pencils, but also wanting to use my Traveler's Company brass pencil. So, as you may know, the Traveler's Company pencil is really great because it's a very small pocket-sized pencil, but when you open it up, there's a section here where you can have a little pencil, and then it extends into more of a full-size pencil. And I really love this brass pencil so much. I've been using it every day since I got it last year. And when I started running out of the pencil that came with, I thought it might be interesting to see if there were other pencils that might fit in this little holder, because otherwise I would have to keep buying the Traveler's Company refills. And I have quite a few pencils lying around that aren't really getting used because I'm always using this. So I got my little hacksaw and I kind of tested it out before I sharpened this. I just tried to make sure that this would fit in the holder. So I was able to cut this pencil down and fit this very comfortably into the holder. And now I get to use my Blackwing pencil and this holder. So I just wanted to share that. And the cool thing is, when this runs out, I can still cut this down again and I can probably refill it again. I think I can get at least 2 refills out of this pencil. And if I wanted to have 2, then I could also sharpen this and I could start using it right away. So I'm really happy with this little hack, and I think it's just going to make it even more fun that I get to use this all the time, but I can also use some of the other pencils at the same time. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was my Wonder Pens workshop. So I had a lot of fun prepping for this workshop. It was a little more work than I initially anticipated, but I think with these things, once you kind of do the upfront work, then it gets a lot easier the next few times. So the topic of the workshop was mental health and journaling. I basically had a mix of talking through different journaling types and having a few activities where we could do some journaling together as a group. And I wanted to make sure that there was some kind of takeaway or handout. And I was really happy with where I landed. This was something that I came up with maybe just a couple of days before the actual workshop. So I think the benefit of having more time to think about the workshop really worked in my favor. Okay, so first I ended up painting some of my favorite journaling supplies, and I had so much fun working on this because a lot of these things are truly some of my favorite supplies, not only with journaling, but just in everyday life. So we've got my pen case, my Superior Labor and Wonder Pens pen case. We have my traveler's notebook, which is right here, my beautiful traveler's notebook. We have stamp, scissors, brass clip, my brass pencil, my Traveler's Company mug, and a bottle of ginger chicken, which is a Wonder Pens ink. And I actually painted this in using the Wonder Pens Ginger Chicken ink, Dominant Industry Wonder Pens Ginger Chicken ink. So I just had a ton of fun putting this together, and I ended up scanning all of these images and I turned them into little stickers that people who came to the workshop would be able to take with them and use them for their journaling or whatever they wanted to do. I experimented with printing on matte white sticker paper and also on clear sticker paper. And I'm really happy with how these turned out. So it was a bit of a labor of love cutting the sticker sheets because I do this at home and my Cricut machine is pretty old. It was definitely a process getting these done. And then about 2 days before the workshop, I randomly decided to make a little zine. I knew I wanted to have a printout or some kind of takeaway that participants could work off of during the workshop because I wasn't going to have a PowerPoint or anything like that. And so I wanted them to have something that they could reference while I was talking in absence of having something like a presentation. And I love how this turned out because I was able to just use one sheet of paper per participant. And I think the end result was really cute. And then I made this in Canva. So I took a lot of my little scanned images and I used all of those images throughout this mini zine. And then I was able to use some additional elements from Canva to almost create like little sort of scrapbooky type of decoration. So this was my first time making a zine, and I will say the one thing that I struggled with was figuring out the spacing, because when you create this, there's obviously an extra spacing around the printer. So some of the pages end up getting squished a little bit over to this side, whereas other pages don't have as much of a margin. That's something that I will have to look into in the future because I just couldn't figure out the spacing. But otherwise, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I think for future workshops, I will do the same thing. So that's kind of the prep that I did for the workshop. And then the workshop itself, I think we had about 14 to 15 people. It was just the best time. It was the first time that I had ever done something like this outside of like a formal work setting. And I really didn't know what to expect. I always considered myself to be a very nervous presenter. And I don't know, maybe I came off that way. I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it, but I honestly just had a really good time. The group was really engaged and I just really enjoyed having conversation with everyone. Like I had kind of prepared quite a lot of speaking points, and I had planned on asking some discussion questions throughout, but you never know if people are going to want to discuss in a group setting or if they're more comfortable in a one-on-one setting. And so I really didn't know what to expect, but I'm really pleased. I think I got really lucky and everybody was just very kind and very attentive and willing to try things out and share their experiences. So I honestly had the best time. I feel like the time flew by, and I was talking with Liz at Wonder Pens after, and I think there may be some more workshops in the future in the new year. So all in all, I'm really happy with how everything turned out. And in case Selena or Sarah are watching this, thank you both so much for just making my experience great. Selena really talked to me and calmed me down in the beginning. I was feeling very nervous, and she was just so supportive. And then after the workshop was over, I had a really nice long chat with Sarah, who also works at Wonder Pens, and she helped me pick a very beautiful ink that I'm really excited to share with you today. I decided that I wanted to treat myself to a bottle of sparkly ink to, I don't know, commemorate my first workshop. And this was just a really big milestone for me. And at the beginning of the year, if you had told me that I was going to run a workshop at my favorite store in Toronto, I don't think I would have believed you. So I'm just really grateful for the experience. I am so inspired by everyone who came to the workshop, and I learned a lot from everyone. So thank you so much if you happen to be watching this and you came to the workshop. And I'm excited for what comes next in 2026. In addition to Wonder Pens being amazing, they also made a little gift bag for me. And I haven't looked through this, so I thought we could look through it together to see what is in this bag. So yeah, let's take a look at it together. Okay, the first thing, a few really fun pens. So we've got this purple 0.7 Pilot pen, and I'm guessing it's purple. Yeah, so it's a beautiful, vibrant purple. This is so fun. I got another Blackwing pencil. So when I use this one up, then I know that I can use this pencil inside my brass pencil, which is great. I got this 0.5 millimeter, looks like it's another Pilot pen, and it still has the seal on top, so I'm not going to take that off right now, but it looks like it might be a brown ink. So actually I am gonna take it off. Now I'm curious. Ooh, okay, this looks like a really nice brown ink. I'm excited about that. And then finally, I got this Matte Hop Pentel pen. So this, ooh, okay, this is, what size is this? It's a 1.0. It's really nice and thick. And it's too bad that it's getting dark right now, so it's obviously hard to see, but it's this really beautiful, vibrant orange color. So that's really fun. Next, I got a bunch of these Foglietto. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. These are some sort of like index cards. I've seen some people do creative things with these cards, so I'm excited to use these. I'm thinking that I can either use this for some kind of like organization system. I know that I've seen Ellen Nim and Tori on Paper recently post videos about using an index card system. Or I could even use these as letters for like Happy Mail. So I'm really excited to have these. I have so many of them now, so this is great. Okay, next up, we've got a bunch of really fun Soutelier stickers. So I love these stickers, and I love how small they are, and they're always so cute. So there's this one with koala bears and woodland creatures. This one's called Little Forest. And then this one is called See You, and this has a bunch of like food takeaway stickers. This one is called Raindrop, and it has a bunch of little faces that are ranging from happy to sad. It's really cute. I love this umbrella and the little gold raindrops or teardrops. And then this one is called Everybody Run, and it's basically a bunch of animals and humans running. Oh, and there's this one with a cane that's running. This is so cute. Actually, I really love this because I do run frequently, and I think it'll be really fun to use these stickers for my runs. So thank you, Wonder Pens. This is so lovely. Okay, and last but not least, I have a Rhodia pad of paper, which is really cool. I actually don't have any Rhodia paper, and I know that it is a common paper for people to test inks with and things like that. So this is going to be great. I could totally see myself using this either for writing letters or just taking notes, or maybe even experimenting with ink swatches, or maybe even just testing ink if I'm wanting to test different papers. So this is really exciting. I've always wanted to try Rhodia paper, and now I have my own pad of papers. Thank you, Wonder Pens. So that is everything in my Wonder Pens gift. So that was so kind. I wasn't expecting a gift, but very, very thoughtful of them. So the gift that I got myself is a sparkly wearing all ink called Queen of Hearts. And yes, it was a little bit of an impulse purchase, but I was in the mood for a shimmer ink. I feel like I have a few pens now that I would be confident to put shimmer inks in it. And I don't know, I just wanted to get something to commemorate my first workshop at Wonder Pens. And this one just felt very festive and appropriate for not only this time of the year, but also this phase that I'm in where I'm just really loving red inks. And so I spent quite a lot of time looking at the inks that they had, and I've never had a wearing all ink before. Oh no, this is a little bit off. Let me see if I can fix it. There we go. Oh wow. Okay, so I've never this is my first bottle of wearing all ink, but you can see it's there's this beautiful gold shimmer at the bottom, and I love how the label is like a little kind of hologram, or I don't know what this is called, where it kind of changes. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. But that's really fun. So of course, one of my favorite things to do right now is to swatch inks, and I thought, what better activity to do to wind down on a Sunday afternoon, early evening, than to swatch inks. So I know it is a little dark, so I think I'm going to swatch all the inks together with you now. And then when there's a little more sunlight, I'll show you what all the inks look like, maybe tomorrow when the sun comes back out, hopefully. We are going to grab my little ink swatching notebook. And today we are going to explore my red ink collection. So I've got my usual materials. I've got my Kakimori brass dip nib pen. I've got my little ink muddler. I've also got my Pilot Iro Utsushi pen. I like to use this because my understanding is that this is the closest to an actual pen of what the ink is going to look like. So I do like to use this, but sometimes, but I invested so much money into this and I want to use this too. So we'll see how things go. We've also got my little condiment cup from Leanne Likes. This was from Wendy Sue from Fountain Pen News. And I've got a bunch of ink samples that I've gotten from Pen Friends. So we've got 2 samples from Tiffany from Talksmot. This was an ink sample from Danielle from my Dandelion Diaries. And then this was an ink sample that I purchased myself from Wonder Pens. And then this is an ink sample that I got from an ink vent from last year. So we've got these ones. And then I've also got a few bottles. Wonder Pens Ginger Chicken. And you can see I'm really coming to, I don't know if you can see that, but we're really coming to the bottom of the bottle here. So that's exciting. I also have Ox Blood, Sailor Tea Time Christmas Tea, Diamine Ancient Copper, and Diamine Forever Ink Red Ochre. These are a lot more inks than I usually do on a page like this. Like I think usually I do around 8 inks, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11 inks. So we'll see how this goes and how much I'm able to fit. But I think we should just dive into it and have some fun. The sun is going down. It's going to get dark soon. So I don't know how much of this is really going to be that fun to watch, but I will film for as long as I can. And then if it starts to feel like it's just not going to really be worth watching, then I'll just come back and show you the end result when there's a little more light outside. If you're planning on swatching along with me, let me know what colors you're in the mood for today, what your theme is going to be, if at all. Today, my theme is obviously red inks. I've been kind of obsessing about red inks for the last little while, so I think it's going to be really fun to kind of put them all on a page together and be able to admire them. Because I'm the most excited about this one, I think we're just going to start with this one. And hopefully I've kind of moved it around enough to get lots of shimmer. And I went a little heavy-handed here because I want to see as much shimmer as possible. Ooh, I mean, it is dark right now, but so far it looks like it's quite a dark saturated ink, and I've heard that wearing all inks can be a little bit dry, so I was a little unsure about this ink, but I did look at a few reviews and it seemed like this one is a little more on the wet side, so hopefully it will be okay in a pen. And I've already got a pen that I am excited to ink this up in. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to do too many because I know we have a lot of colors we want to get through to today. This is a little more broad to write with, but I think I'm going to try anyway. Okay, that's Wearing All Queen of Hearts. Really excited to see how that dries down. Hope I get lots of shimmer. Now I'm just going to rinse my water before I do the rest, just because there's lots of shimmer that was probably in the water now, and I just want to make sure that I remove that. So I'll be right back. Okay. I've just turned a light on because it is getting really dark, so hopefully the shadows won't be too annoying. Let's do Oxblood next. I surprisingly really love Oxblood. I used it earlier this year in my Pilot Parallel pen. This thing, I had filled this up pretty much and I used it all up and I was tempted to actually refill it, but I wanted to try a different color. But it really is a gorgeous ink. I love it. Let's do Ancient Copper because it's right here. I have swatched this ink a few times. I really love it. And I have it inked in a pen right now, and I was tempted to actually ink it in another pen and just do more like an in-depth comparison of this ink with all my different pens. I did something like that with my Konpeki ink, and it takes a lot of time to coordinate all of my pens and have them all inked with the same ink, and it does eventually get a little bit boring after a while, but I always think it's really fun to do the comparisons. So if there's a specific ink that you'd be really interested in seeing, let me know. I was thinking Ancient Copper could be kind of a fun one because I know it's a well-loved ink. And it is kind of, it does have some shading properties. So I think inks like that can be really fun to see how they perform in different pens. So I might do that one next. We'll see. Let me know. I think next I'm going to do ginger chicken because I used to think ginger chicken looked very similar to ancient copper. And I think seeing them side by side will help with that comparison because I think this one's a little more orangey, whereas ancient copper has a little more red. So let's take a look at that now. Okay, yeah, so you can clearly see, I think here, even though it's maybe not the best lighting, that this is a little more orange and this is definitely a little more red. So let's do a few swatches side by side. Oops, okay. Let's do my last bottle. This is Christmas tea, Sailor Tea Time. I actually really want to ink this in a pen this month because it is December. It will be December soon. And I think this is the perfect ink to use for this time of the year. Oh yeah. Look at that. These are all looking very similar to each other. Okay, definitely want to put this in a pen ASAP. Let's do some of my samples now. I think I'll start with these two. These are from Tiffany from Toxmot, and this one is a brick red, so I feel like this will fit in very nicely with these types of reds. So, ooh, okay, beautiful. I think it's called the Athena ink. Okay, I am really loving how this is turning out. Let's carry on. Let's do this one now. This is Kuretake Ink Cafe Meiji no Iro Araishu. Araishu? If I recall correctly, I think this is a very bright red. Ooh, okay. Pretty. Yeah, this is definitely the brightest so far of the reds. And this one's called Kuretake. Okay. I have no idea what this one looks like. Let's just do this one next. This is called Nagasawa Kobe Monogatari Nakahara Luxury Red. And this was from an ink vent. And just using my, I really love how this ink stabilizer from Fountain Pendulum has a slot for the bigger ink samples, but also a slot for the smaller ones. Okay, the only thing is I think I'm going to have some trouble using the little ink muddler, but let's see what we can do. Ooh, okay, another very bright, vibrant red. I don't think this is really going to oh, huh, okay, never mind, it fits. So maybe I'll do, I'm running out of squares, so I'm trying to be a little more cautious about how many I color in with each color. Next, let's do Diamine Syrah. So this is an ink sample that I picked up from Wonder Pens. I love this color and I've been very tempted to get a bottle, but I'm not going to let myself get a bottle until I finish the ink sample. And if I still really want the ink after I finish the ink sample, then I will consider getting a bottle. Okay, I've got 3 colors left, not a lot of room, so I'm just going to continue squishing these together. I think this color is so beautiful. And it's really lovely to write in. I had it inked in my Franklin Christoph pen that I picked up at Scriptus, and it was just such a lovely writing experience. I almost caught myself wishing that I had bought a bottle of this instead of Ancient Copper, because I can't decide sometimes which one I like more, but they're both really beautiful colors in different ways. Okay, we've got 2 left, and I honestly don't know how I'm going to fit 2 more, but let's just try. So I've got this Jor Usagia Original Drink Darjeeling Tea. So this might be a little more orange. I'm not too sure, but we'll try it out. And then last one I have is Momiji. I can't remember if this is more of a red or a pink, but I pulled it out anyway. Okay, I think I'm going to put it up here. So it might be a little hard to see with the other colors. Oh, okay, so yeah, this might be a little more on the orange side. Beautiful color nonetheless. Doesn't seem to be as saturated as some of the other colors, which could be a good thing. I wonder if this would be more of a shading ink. And I love shading inks, so that is definitely not a bad thing if that's what it ends up being more like. I think I was also going to do red ochre, so actually we have 2 more inks left. I'll save this one for last because it is a permanent ink. Okay, let's do Momiji. And I think I'll do that one here. So yeah, this feels a little more on the pink side, so maybe this was not necessarily the best color. Maybe I'm thinking of a different color that's a little more red. Is there another Iroshizuku ink that's more on the red side? Okay, and the last one is red ochre. And this is a document ink, or a permanent ink. Huh, okay, I'm gonna just put it down here, but it's gonna be hard to see a lot of it because I do have a lot of ink going on right now down here on this page. Okay, well, I'm going to let this dry. I think it's going to take a little while because of all the ink that I've sort of got going on down here. And I will come back probably tomorrow when it is daytime again, and we'll take a look at how this looks when it dries. In the meantime, I might also do some swatches in my traveler's notebook just to have a comparison on empty paper. But this was really fun. I think this is always how I want to end my Sunday nights. I hope you had a nice time swatching inks with me or doing whatever you were doing while we were hanging out. So let me know what your favorite is of what you see here. And I'll see you tomorrow to follow up on the inks that we looked at today. It's been a few days and I wanted to come back on and show you how these dried. It looks so much better in the daylight, and it's so funny how it almost feels like a bit of a surprise coming back to these. When I work on these at night, I'm not really able to see the color as clearly, and then I come back and it's just really cool to see everything in proper lighting. So I'm gonna start with what we worked on together, and then I'll talk about my insert next, because I also swatched the inks on my traveler's notebook insert as well, just because I felt like it. So this is how it looks in the Hobonichi blank grid notebook. And you can see here that this one in the center is the new ink that I purchased, and you can see that really beautiful shimmer. Hopefully you can see it. I think it's so beautiful. And the Momiji, the Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji, that looks more like a pink to me. So I'm not sure why I thought it was red, but you can see here, this is Momiji, and I feel like it looks a little more red on the Traveler's Notebook paper. And then over here, I ran out of space, so I had to do a few of my swatches overlapping, and it was kind of happy accident because I love how this looks. I love how they all kind of melded together and created this beautiful red blob of colors. And this is the beautiful Wearing All ink that kind of inspired this whole spread. I have been writing with it in a pen, and I find that the shimmer isn't coming out as much as I had hoped, but it's still a very beautiful color. And I have also heard that Wearing All inks can be on the dry side, but so far I haven't really had any issues with that with this ink. So I knew I liked the base color enough that if the shimmer didn't come through, I would still really enjoy the ink. So I might try it in another pen and see if I can get more of that shimmer to come through. But yeah, these are all of the beautiful red inks that I swatched the other day. And then this is how they look on Traveler's Notebook insert paper. These two are swatches of the Wearing All Queen of Hearts. You can see I got a lot more shimmer in this middle section here. And I'm really loving how this one turned out as well. I had a lot of fun trying out different shapes so that they weren't all like uniform little squares like I had been doing here in the grid. And again, I just love how inks are so vibrant on this paper. And you can see there's a lot of sheen that's coming through as well. So this is Pilot Iroshizuku Momiji, and you can see there's this beautiful gold sheen. I actually can't remember what all of these are. I didn't label them, so I guess that's my bad. But I think this one is the Darjeeling tea, which has a very beautiful gold green sheen. Of course, there's the shimmer there. And this one as well, this is Oxblood. And you can see the Oxblood has a bit of a kind of green gold sheen as well. Just stunning colors. I really love how this turned out. I think I might prefer how the inks look on this paper over this paper, but I wanted to show you both. Let me know which one was your favorite. I know there's a few more red inks that I would love to try, so if you have any recommendations, please send them my way. I'm going to start a running to try list and try to focus on finding samples instead of rushing to buy a bottle of every ink that catches my eye. It's very hard to do, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, let me know what you are inking in your pens these days. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you were able to do something fun and relaxing while we hung out. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon in the next video.